Hey, what's up, hello, super simps, and welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a Simply Nailogical podcast.
Well, hello everyone. It's Tuesday again.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Simply Nailogical Discord server, ?
Well, it's not actually sponsored by Discord. I have no professional sponsorship relationship with them, but I do want to share with you guys that we just started our own Simply Nailogical Discord server. So if you know what Discord is, then you know what that is. It's like an online community where you can hang out and talk to people. You have a username and you can chat in different chat threads about different topics related to Simply Nailogical, cats, nail polish. There's a home and garden chat. There's a video game chat. It's just been lots of fun.
Yeah, so if you have suggestions for the podcast or for Cristine's streams or want to just talk about HOLO Taco and what might be coming next, Discord might be a fun place to have those conversations.
Yeah, so we'll put a link to my new Discord server down in the video description box if you're watching on YouTube. I'm really excited because I feel like this is something I should have done years ago. Lots of people have Discord servers or communities for like streamers or gamers will do that. But it's kind of become more mainstream for even if you're not a gamer to have the server for your own community. And I feel like, why didn't I do this years ago? So here I am doing it now, and it's been super fun, and it's been amazing to set up and already see people thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, so if you know what Discord is, you can check that out at the link down below.
And if you don't, it's pretty easy to figure out.
So, Cristine, the other day, I'm leaving our lawyer's office.
You are.
Downtown, walking back to my parking space, walking towards the car. And this other car pulls up behind my car, and this mother and a son get out. And they look like they look a little out of place. You know what I mean? They don't look like they're from the city. This is me just sort of projecting or stereotyping people, but they look like they're maybe from the country. They look like the kind of people you might see if you're driving through like rural Ontario or something.
Did they have corn, or why are you?
Yeah, their car was full of corn.
Their car was full.
Anyway, ignore that part. So the mom and son, they get out of the car just as I'm walking back to my car, and the son reaches into his pocket. I want to say he's maybe like 12, 13 years old, I want to say.
Okay.
Reaches into his pocket, pulls out a pack of cigarettes, and just starts smoking on the sidewalk.
What?
And I'm standing at like my driver's door about to get in the car, and I'm just like staring at him like, am I having a stroke? Like, is anyone else seeing this? And I look at the mom.
The mom was right there?
The mom's right there. She looks at me, kind of has a bit of a concerned look on her face. She motions to the son to like stop, and the son stops smoking. And in that moment, I'm like, should I say something? Would it be out of place for me? Would I be an asshole even if I started like lecturing this mother about letting her child smoke? Or like obviously as soon as I'm gone, clearly she is okay with that kid smoking. She just felt embarrassed that someone else was observing it. That is sort of...
Because she's aware that it's probably not the best idea to let your child smoke, so she doesn't like the idea of other people noticing it, but she's letting it happen.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is there any chance that this kid is not a kid? And
is there any chance this was just like a hallucination? That's a really good question.
Like, what if they're like 18 and they just look 12, and the mother's like, stop, because people are going to think you're 12, even though we know you're not.
That's a really good point. I would like to think I'm an okay judge of this, but yeah, there are people who look a lot younger than they actually are.
What if it's Benjamin Button?
Yes, that's...
reverse aging.
Very possible. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, and I'm very curious to hear what other people think. What if there's anything you should do in that scenario, or that's one of those things where you're just like, okay, that's a thing, and move on with your life.
I feel like my personality type is I would definitely be judging the situation, but I would not go step in and say anything to the mother.
And I think that's most people. Because
I don't want the confrontation. That doesn't mean that I don't feel strongly that I think what's happening is bad, but I don't know what else this mother's, opinions or way she handles her characterizations are, because she's letting her 12-year-old smoke in public. What else does she do? I'd be scared.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Like, is she going to yell at me for, like, how dare you question me? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel bad for the kid, though. I mean, what Anyway, I'd be curious to see what people think in the comment section down below. But, that is my little anecdote. Mm-hmm. This episode is another Reddit Am I the Asshole episode.
We love these.
It's a fan favorite. We really enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. Why don't we just hop right into it, Christine?
Sure.
For anyone who hasn't tuned into one of these before, for
anyone who hasn't turned into an asshole before, here we analyze people who may or may not be assholes based on posts people have decided to put on public forums on Reddit.
People have voluntarily submitted these scenarios to the internet and asked the internet to decide if they were the asshole in this situation. All right, first one. Am I the asshole if I lock my freezer full of ice cream when my sister and her teenager kids come to visit? So my house is a sort of place where most family meetups happen. I keep my parents' house and I have lived there since then. I've noticed that my sister doesn't really have a good handle on her kids in terms of discipline. The past 2 times they've come, they have eaten so many of my ice cream bars, and they always make such a fucking mess. It's aggravating. I would be fine if they grabbed 1 from the freezer, but they grab like 5 each, eat them, then grab a few more for the road. I know my sister isn't the best with discipline, so I didn't want to bother with her. She wouldn't do much. I just got a lock for the freezer and locked it. When they came earlier today, they complained to me that it was locked, and I just told them I know. They complained to their mom, and then she came over and said that it was locked. I again said that I know. She asked if the kids could get some ice cream, and I told her no, and I told her why. She then started saying things like me treating her family horribly, saying that it's just ice cream, and I am a cheap, bad person for not sharing it. Things like that. She was very angry for a lot of the time, and then she just left with her kids. Am I the asshole for doing that?
How do you lock a freezer?
I've
never seen a freezer locked. Like, what freezer? Like, we couldn't lock our freezer, but maybe that's just because how it's designed. Like, how would you lock it?
I've never seen a freezer locked.
Yeah, me neither. Like, how do you lock your freezer?
I know, like, in commercial kitchens, there you can put, like, a padlock on them sort of thing.
Or maybe if you have one of those deep freezes, like, in the basement.
Like a chest freezer.
Yeah, like a chest freezer. Those I can see maybe how you lock them.
Anyway, this doesn't really matter.
Just like, how do you lock a freezer?
You can lock a freezer.
Okay.
Do you need to lose weight? Just lock the food so you can't get it.
I mean, it is weird to lock your food chain supply in your household. Like, that's just a weird thing to do to prevent people from going in there. Like, you just hope that people follow your instruction or direction, like, such as, please don't take more than 1 freezy or popsicle.
Yeah, that's the right take here. She's not the asshole for locking her freezer, but it seems kind of ridiculous. It required, or it had to get to that point. But did it have to get to that point?
The other solution is just not have ice cream in the freezer when you're...
No. If I'm living in my house, living my life, I want ice cream. And
but if they aren't taking the message, which they clearly are not, because the poster already said she tried to tell them, and so they're just not listening. They don't care. They're going to take 5 at once. Next time they come over, okay, there's just no ice cream in the fridge. That's my way to get the message across.
I can't have nice things because my sister's teenage kids might come over and take them.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have ice cream, but my approach would be, if they're not listening to me, next time I'm just going to make it completely unavailable.
Yeah, she did make it unavailable by locking her freezer.
Like, I guess my strategy wouldn't be locking it. I would just be like, I'm just not going to buy them for next week. So there will be none left because you did that. Remember last week you guys ate them all? Yeah, that was you. Maybe next time you shouldn't eat them all.
Hide them. Get a second freezer and just like hide it somewhere.
Have it in your bedroom.
Yeah, but I guess, communication, Christine, is everything. You really hope it doesn't get to this point. I can't imagine having someone that, doesn't respect the rules of your household and is just stealing your food like that.
But clearly that's happening, so you have to deal with it. You can't, yes, ideally we hope that everyone just listens and respects, but that's not what's happening. So I think to give practical advice, I would just, if I was the poster, I would just not have ice cream in the sandwich, in the freezer next time, and be like, there's no ice cream sandwiches. You guys ate them all. See, that's what happens when you eat them all.
I think the sisters need to get aligned on what the sort of rules are and whether it's acceptable. And if they don't agree to it, they're not welcome over to the house, right? It's kind of like Jen used to come over a lot. And she would eat all our bananas. And then when she was leaving, she would take all the bananas. And I had to be like, Jen, I know you like bananas, but you can't be eating all of our bananas.
No, like you're just making that up.
All right, not the asshole.
Okay.
Next scenario. Am I the asshole for taking back a gift from a fake baby? What's a fake baby?
I don't know. I'm nervous. What does that mean?
I work at a popular clothing retailer and I enjoy my job very much. My coworkers are great. Customers are bearable. But one coworker, let's call her Rhonda, has been making my work life a living hell recently. We've worked together for a couple years now and things were great. I would even say we were work friends. She invited me to her daughter's baby shower last month and I agreed to go. What I didn't know was that this was not a regular baby shower. I arrived with a gift and was talking to my other coworkers that were there, and we figured out none of us had met the daughter. Rhonda introduced her daughter to our little group, and I congratulated her and thanked her for having us. She laughed and said something like, "Thank you, but I'm not pregnant yet. But it's always good to be prepared for when the time comes." I was visibly confused, which seemed to offend her. After she walked away from our group, my coworker explained that Rhonda had told her that when they arrived that this isn't a regular baby shower and her daughter had been feeling down because quite a few of her friends had been pregnant. I asked the friends if they knew beforehand, but they said no and that they were confused why they were asked to buy gifts but decided not to make a big deal about it. I asked Rhonda why she wouldn't tell us that it wasn't a baby shower for a specific baby, and she explained that the physical invitations explained it was a party for her daughter to shower her with love, quote. Well, none of us coworkers got physical invitations. I asked Rhonda if I could take back my gift since I am not made of money and I would prefer to get her daughter a gift when she was actually having a baby. Rhonda said that it would be rude to take a gift back after giving it and that her daughter was going through a lot and was looking forward to opening presents. I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't do this." I took my gift and left. The daughter sent me angry messages over Facebook and said I was a bad friend to Rhonda. Facebook. I feel bad for storming off and taking back the gift if it was going to cause this much grief. Also, I realized I grabbed a gift that was on top of mine that was from my coworker, and she said she wants me to bring it back to her and not give it to Rhonda and her daughter. But Rhonda found out and is threatening to go to HR if I don't return the gifts.
HR? What?
And buy something else off the registry for the suffering I have caused. Am I an asshole for taking back a gift because I was lied to?
I am lost already. So a mother wanted to have a baby shower for her daughter.
In advance of the daughter being pregnant.
Right, but she advertised the party, the event as a baby shower. So people presume to get you a gift reasonably for your upcoming baby that did not exist.
Well, I haven't been to a baby shower, I don't think. Have you? Have you been to a baby shower?
I think so.
What do they do? They shower babies?
So. Yes, in water, actually.
No, but okay, so presumably these gifts are for babies, right?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, it could also be for the mother or the parents to care for the baby.
If anyone ever cared to invite me to a baby shower, I'm probably buying a gift that is appropriate for someone about to have a baby.
Yeah, no,
Why
exactly.
would some random woman want a bunch of baby gifts if there's no...
Well...
she's not having a baby?
I think there's a disconnect between the mother who wanted to host this party for the daughter and the daughter themselves, because the mother suggested, is it Rhonda the mother?
We're calling her Rhonda.
Rhonda the mother, mom. She wanted to shower her daughter with love, like that was the quote. But told people it was a baby shower, I guess because just in, this era, this day and age, a baby shower is something that people get really excited about and want to bring gifts to. If you say, "I'm having a party for my daughter for no reason," then maybe people are less excited and less inclined to bring gifts. Like, it's not a birthday party. Why are we showering her with love?
Why are we here? They don't even know the daughter.
Is everything okay? Like, what's going on?
I mean, you could have a nice little surprise party for no reason for, like, someone you know and care about. But I wouldn't show up to a coworker's child's party for no reason. A no-reason party.
A no-reason party? Yeah. I mean, I have no-reason parties by myself all the time. Just me.
You do?
Tea and paint my nails by myself. It's a no-reason party, baby. It's Taco Tuesday. Anyways.
Yeah, okay, to take it seriously for a second.
You're taking this seriously?
Yeah, probably doesn't deserve it. Because, this is pretty crazy behavior, right? And kind of seems like there might be something more serious.
It sounds like Rhonda, the mother's a little crazy, but the daughter, if she knew, I guess this is the piece of information I'm missing. If the daughter knew that her mother was going around saying, we're having a baby shower for my daughter who is not yet pregnant, did she know this or did she not know this and might be like very upset with that idea?
Well, she did respond like, not pregnant yet.
Okay, that's just weird.
So
like, that's a weird
are they
take.
just conspiring? Like, so many people feel awkward. A lot of people would just feel awkward and not take the gift back. And I think people like Rhonda and her daughter are happy to go through life
Taking
basically
people's
scamming
gifts.
people, right?
Yeah, good
Like
point.
we shouldn't underestimate that there are a lot of people who are just that shitty.
These people do exist. Yeah. Yeah, I don't go to their parties.
So the poster certainly is not an asshole. It's
Yeah.
shocking that it's being suggested that HR is having to get involved in a situation like this.
So if you brought a baby shower gift to a party where you thought that the person was pregnant and that's why you're bringing the gift, and then it turns out they're like, no, I'm not actually pregnant, but I'll take your gift, what do you do?
I take the gift back probably.
Do you take it back out of principle because you're
Yes, because it's not like I need that bottle feeder. It's not like I need
well,
that.
maybe you could, like, maybe the person gifting it could actually have used it
I
for
could
their
just
own
take
family.
it back or give it to someone
Yeah.
else. But
or just return it and get your money back.
actually, taking the sort of absurd aspect of this question away, at what point can you not take a gift back? Let's say I'm going to a birthday party. At what exact moment is that exchange happening that I
So-
can't just walk out the door with a gift?
I think that question depends on the intent or the premise of the party and whether or not it was false advertising in the first place. Because if it was false advertising insofar that the party was being advertised as a baby shower for a baby that does not exist, I think there is no statute of limitations on taking back your gift. You can take it back at any time because the other person fucked up with false advertising.
Gotcha. So it's the lie. It's that the party is based fundamentally
based
on
on
a
a lie.
lie. So if I went to a birthday party and like halfway through the party the guy's like,
It's not my birthday.
by the way, it's not my birthday, I could take it back.
Yeah.
But if let's say halfway through the party the birthday boy, it is his birthday.
Okay.
But he just starts, saying terrible things about me and my family. And he's a jerk and we're not friends anymore.
Would you
Can I
pick up
leave
gift
the
and
party
leave?
with the gift?
I think there is no clear answer that is always going to be right. I think it really depends on the situation and whether
how nice the gift is.
Well, I don't know about how nice the gift is, but I don't know. It also depends on, like, do you want the potential confrontation to come out of that? Like, if it was me personally, if this person insulted me and I don't want to deal with them, I'm probably just going to leave that gift and go. But that's me. I also understand that if someone, like, could have really used that money and they really feel like the person no longer deserves the gift, maybe they feel like they can take it back. It kind of depends on you, the situation, what you see for the future between yourself and the gift receiver.
All right, good answer. The context matters.
It always does, but also, like, don't lie about parties or fake babies. I think that's kind of the underscoring point here.
All right, that's the moral of the
I'm
story.
having a baby shower for our next cat. Right.
We're not getting a cat.
But I spun a wheel and
I know.
it said we're going to get a new cat, Ben, in the last Simply Stream
Imagine
Sunday.
that. Yeah. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for abandoning my roommate because her mother ate my lunch?
What?
So I'm a 23-year-old guy. My 22-year-old female roommate's 42-year-old mother has been heavily overstepping and consuming all the food that I cook for my meals when I'm going to work. For context, her mother is also technically a roommate as we split the rent 3 ways, with me paying half and her and her daughter paying a quarter each. To get her mother to agree to pay half of her rent, my roommate, a longtime friend from college, begged me to let her mother on the lease as this was the only way she'd agree because she wouldn't pay for something that wasn't hers. And so now her mother comes and goes as she pleases. The problem arises because I cook and I am fairly good at it, and I have to because my workplace is isolated and there are no restaurants nearby that I could make it to on my lunch hour. I wake up at 6 in the morning to make sure that my meals are ready because I'm a picky eater and the things I like are fairly complicated. My roommate's mother has been serving herself from my meals. It started small and I was okay with that because I sometimes have leftovers. However, certain dishes do not permit that, and now she has taken to eating out of my packed lunches when there's no leftovers, saying, quote, sorry, I was just so peckish, or you know how I love your cooking, I couldn't help
Oh,
myself.
shut up.
After the second week of no lunches, I'd had enough and decided I would leave and pay off my part of the lease. I'm furious, but I do love my roommate as she is like a sister to me. She has recently found out that I'm looking for a new apartment, but thinks my reason is too petty. She said it's just food and I shouldn't abandon her over it. I have been having second thoughts about leaving now because I don't want to hurt her, but her mother is still doing it after having myself and her daughter confront her. Would I be wrong for leaving?
I think it's so messed up that clearly the poster even feels guilty about leaving when I thought this was going to end in, am I the asshole for telling the mother she's not allowed to take my food? But it went so far as her being like, I'm going to leave and I feel bad about it.
Well,
I feel terrible.
She must really care about the roommate
Yeah.
that she's even questioning.
And she doesn't
the
want to insult her
situation.
roommate's mom because it would be insulting her roommate, who she cares a lot about. He cares a lot about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess the only thing I would note that the commenter could have done differently, or the poster, is I feel like it really quickly went from this is a problem and like I'm leaving. I'm moving out. Yeah. Like it's not clear if she talked to the roommate before. It sounds like the roommate found out she was leaving and then they had this conversation about what the problem
mother
was.
is a 42-year-old adult and the poster is a 23-year-old adult.
Yeah.
You could talk to your roommate, whether or not it's someone's mother, like it's still it's a roommate, it's a paying roommate. You could say, listen, I really appreciate that you like my cooking, but I need to keep my meals like this and not be eaten because I need them for work.
And you'd think you wouldn't have to have that conversation.
And it shouldn't, right. The fact that that has to happen is very annoying, but like, I wonder if that firm-handed conversation was had.
It sounds like her and the roommate had the conversation with the mother later and it still wasn't getting through, right? And what really sucks is like that roommate's mother, like
The other roommate.
there's no choice there. This
Right.
poster has no connection to this woman other than the fact that they happen to be on a lease together.
And now they
She
feel
doesn't
like they
have to
leave.
put up with this sort of bullshit.
The right?
The
poster said that he didn't have to put
Yes.
up. Well, yeah, but I feel bad for the poster because it's like they shouldn't have to deal with their roommate's mother, who is just clearly not understanding the appropriate boundaries of a roommate. Because to me, that's just common sense. I mean, if you want to ask for a favor, like, hey, do you mind? If you have any extra leftovers.
Chip in on
Sure.
groceries, you might want to cook for. Yeah.
Or if there's an exceptional time where you like happen to eat someone's food, you replace it, or you'd be like, "Hey, sorry, I ran out of
You just
food.
don't eat
I
someone.
was feeling peckish, but here you go. I bought you a sandwich tomorrow. Whatever."
Also, if someone doesn't respect your boundaries when it comes to something like this,
What else? aren't
they don't
respecting?
respect your boundaries in general, I would suspect.
Yeah.
So when you're not home at that apartment, I think all of your stuff, that person probably looks at it as their stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an enormous concern, or would be for me anyway.
I try to have empathy for the situation of the other person living there and
The daughter.
and her mother.
The mother?
Yeah, because like, I don't know, maybe it's a financial situation that only makes it possible for the two of them to live together in the same place, because that's not as common,
You're right,
right?
that's likely.
And they said like the only way they could do it is if they split that half of the rent, which is why the mother's paying a quarter. Anyways, that aside, I feel like that maybe complicates it, and that's why the original poster is feeling like guilty that they're leaving, because it also means they're vacating the lease and not going to be offering that other half of rent. So maybe that's why they feel guilty. At the same time, you need to be able to live your life comfortably in your own home, even if it's shared, and eat your food. And if it were me and someone else's mom was eating my food, I would probably leave too. That's just me.
I think that's
Like,
the right
I'm out.
take.
Okay, like I can't deal with this shit anymore. I don't have tolerance for roommates, whether or not they are someone's mom or my age, eating my stuff without, like within reason.
What about Menchie? She doesn't pay rent. She just eats our food.
Yeah, but she's so beautiful. So like, it's just,
That's all it takes.
she pays rent with her beauty.
All right, moving on. Am I the asshole for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited?
Oh no, not a wedding one.
The wedding ones are good. So I'm a 29-year-old guy. My best friend Carla, who's 31-year-old lady, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now. And originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course, I said yes, and she and her fiancé Rick were very happy. The thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college, but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife, who we got married. Carla met Rick, and now here we are. So my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college, and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently, and not in the best way. I'm not sure how, but from what I heard from friends, that one mutual friend told him, and I have no idea why, that we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said that a couple years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Uh-oh. I don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla's told me is that Rick was told about our past and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama, and I didn't hear from her for over a month until now. She told me they're going to a couples counseling and that the wedding is still on. But Rick requested that I not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still want it at our place.
I'm sorry, what? What?
Rick said so too, and in my mind, I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house? My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend. And I told Carla, no, they're going to have to find someplace else since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have the wedding at my house. It doesn't make sense. They really want their wedding here, though, and because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being petty for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, I don't think I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to and leaving our home totally vulnerable, still being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes it's the least I can do after everything.
After what?
After nothing, and these people should not be getting married.
After dating Carla years ago? Like, well before she knew Rick? Like, how dare you have dated her years ago?
These people should not be getting married.
Yeah, I think that's the real
answer,
takeaway.
right?
They're going through couples counseling to decide whether or not they can get married in her ex's house that she's still in love with.
Wow.
Why would they want to get married in his space? Whether or not he's there. Like, let's just pretend we're crazy like that for a second. Let's say, like, yes, I love this property. You know, it's my ex's space.
It's just a no, take that out. It's just a wedding venue to them then, right? Hey, I just like how your backyard looks.
But everyone knows it's the poster. We don't know his name. Everyone knows it's his house. So literally everyone will be like, didn't you used to date this guy? Like, do they want that conversation happening at the wedding?
I know.
No,
obviously,
right?
the poster is like pointing this out. Like, you're not comfortable with me being there, but you want to have it in my home. That doesn't make any sense.
And that's going to be on your mind. And if you're getting ready upstairs for photo shoots, are you getting ready in his bedroom? Like, think about it. You got to think this through.
Maybe
it actually makes no sense.
Maybe Carla still likes the poster, and there's actually some
secret desire to get ready in his room.
Maybe.
It's fucking weird.
I mean, we're totally just guessing. That's bizarre.
We're just guessing. But yeah, like, it is completely unreasonable to expect your ex to vacate his house because you want to marry someone else in his house. Like,
so I feel like that's obvious, and everyone who's listening to this is going to agree, unless you're the crazy people on the other side of this equation. The interesting part of the scenario that I think is worth talking about is maybe... in a couple, if you introduce someone to someone you used to date, do you have an obligation to be like, hey, a heads up, we dated back in high school, but we're still friends or something, or back in college?
I wouldn't say it's an obligation, but I do think out of just general respect and communication, it would be better to clear that up before it's accidentally uncovered you know,
It would
by
be better to
accident.
hear it from your partner
exactly.
than
That's all.
somewhere
I just
else.
think it's
Yeah.
more of a communication, general respect. Just like let someone know.
Okay, so you're
That's
right.
all.
Obligation isn't the right word, but
But she hid it from Rick, her fiance,
maybe for a reason.
for a reason, maybe.
Or not
Well, she
necessarily.
apparently confessed love to the poster.
Well, it could be
at
one
some
of two
point.
things. Either like it means nothing to you, so it didn't even occur to you to bring it
anyway.
up, or it means a lot to you and you were deliberately not trying to bring it up.
I mean, I
maybe.
can understand that if you dated someone a long time ago and like literally haven't spoken about them or to them since. But in this case, Carla and the poster have been friends this whole time. So that is strange that she would have never mentioned that she used to date the poster to her fiance. That's what's weird.
Yeah, that is
Because
pretty
they have
weird.
an ongoing friendship or relationship of some kind.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little sus, you know?
It is a little sus. All right. All right. I think we're all on the same page.
Do you have
here.
something to tell me? We're getting married in someone's house? Like,
No, I'm just trying to think if I ever like introduced you to a female friend of mine who I would have dated. Like,
yeah, but you would tell me.
yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Next.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let an artist whose designs I used promote their work on my page? So I'm in the business of selling custom t-shirts online through my website and my Instagram page. I have a weird rule, though. I personally hate having names on my clothing, so I don't sign my name on any of the designs because I think the clothes shouldn't be an advertising tool since they're not my property anymore. It's fine because I do most of the artwork myself, but I was slammed with orders a couple months back, so I couldn't have time to do work on more original designs. Since I had a lot of custom work to do, I decided to buy the designs that I could relieve some of that burden. I found an artist whose designs I liked and told her the kind of designs, drawings that I wanted from her. I told her about my rule and that she couldn't sign her designs and if she was okay with it. I told her I would be purchasing these designs, not licensing, from her, and they'd be my property from then on. I offered to pay a premium as well. I told her it was okay if she didn't want to do it and I could find someone else. So it's been all good, and the t-shirts with her designs have been selling quite well. I haven't released all of them yet and released them batch by batch. Under my most recent batch of photos that I uploaded, I found her commenting saying that she designed this t-shirt and to check out her page where she's selling more of these designs and has started taking custom orders. I deleted
4 t-shirts.
4 t-shirts, yeah, good point. I deleted the comments, contacted her, and told her that she should not be commenting on my page since these weren't her designs anymore and that I had purchased them from her. She got mad and told me she still did the design and has a right to promote herself using them. I told her to stop and that I'd be suing her if I found her claiming to own these designs in the future. We do have a contract. She's basically promoting herself using my business, and she's a direct competitor, even if it's on a small scale. I think I'm right, but Reddit, am I the asshole?
Interesting and very relevant to the creator community in which we exist and
Yeah,
probably some of our listeners.
We could give some insight to this from both sides of this sort of business arrangement. I will say, I usually don't do this, but I looked at the sort of comments on this one to see what people thought as well. And I feel like there was a lot of, this was a pretty polarizing post, right? Because a lot of people are sort of, you know, acknowledging this guy does have like a legal right, if assuming he did everything the way he said he did. But a lot of people were super defensive of an artist's right to claim authorship of their work, which I totally get and is important. So yeah, what would I say? I think any artist, anyone selling creative assets should pay attention to like scenarios like this and sort of understand what this means, right? So if you're a company buying something from an artist, you might just be buying the ability to use those designs without actually getting all the rights to them, right? So if you're selling a design to the company, you should really care about what you are actually selling. Are you selling a license? What sort of is the nature of that license? And are you assigning, sometimes they're called moral rights. Are you assigning rights of ownership to that piece? Are you literally selling it to a company?
And also in the contract, does it say what the business can do with the artwork you are selling them to? Such as like, can they use it for marketing? Can they use it for ads? Can they use it on their website and socials? If it says all those things, then you need to consider that like in your own like pricing of what the services you're offering.
Yeah, and that should absolutely dictate or influence what
Right.
that business transaction looks like or what sort of price you put on that work, right? I think it often is the case that in agreements like, we worked with a local agency here in Ottawa to come up with the branding for Holo Taco, for example. They were great to work with. It was important that in that agreement that any assets, creative assets they came up with for the brand,
The
did
logo,
belong.
the design, the website.
Yeah, we
just
needed to make sure as much as legally possible those rights were assigned to you and your company. But at the same time, we had an understanding with them, and I think it's literally in the agreement, that they wanted the ability to say like, hey, we worked on this and put it in their portfolio.
Right.
Which we're totally cool with and happy to do. And you can, if you look up Cinnamon Toast Holo Taco, they have a pretty interesting document that like talks about what it was like to help develop the brand, right? Or the branding. So I guess that's our perspective or the example that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I think of it from both ways, and that's what I find really tricky, because I do find that some like newer artists maybe don't have the education or the knowledge yet of how these business deals typically work. So if you're an artist and a company wants to buy your design, you need to get a lawyer or some legal advice to review the contract that they present to you, just so you understand what it is exactly you're selling, so that scenarios like this where there's a misunderstanding doesn't happen. I think that's first and foremost what you should do. So in this scenario, from the information we have available, it sounds like the poster had purchased the rights to the design. Therefore, they do not have to credit the artist, like either by writing it in the design or in the description of the t-shirt or the website, because they're purchasing the rights to it, and they can put it on their t-shirts, maybe hats, whatever it is, it's theirs now. I hope the artist priced their work accordingly, knowing that was going to happen.
Or it sounds like they didn't understand.
It sounds like maybe they underestimated or didn't fully understand. But what's going on here is like, it sounds like the artist then took it upon themselves to comment in, I don't know if it's comments or reviews of this retailer store, which is not something that would have been in the contract for them to do, because all of a sudden you're going to someone's store and using their platform to promote something that you signed the rights away to. And that's what's really hard to appreciate here and to understand. But if I'm trying to draw a parallel here, it's like if on the Holo Taco website, Cinnamon Toast, which was a design agency who we paid and contracted to come up with the branding, if they wrote in the review of the nail polishes, like, we made this branding, come and check out our designs. That would be pretty inappropriate of them to do that, especially if they started selling nail polish. Well, because in this scenario, she was competing with them and selling t-shirts.
It's not even a good analogy, really, because it's a direct competitor, what they're selling. But yeah, even in that scenario to describe, they wouldn't do that because they're a professional.
They're a professional agency who understands contracts, and like, they literally work in the business of creating logos for companies. So But
I think technically you can't assign away authorship, right? Even if you assign all the rights in a creative work to someone else, that doesn't take away the fact that you
did it.
Authored it.
Yeah.
And I think I think there is that allowance, unless you signed an NDA or the agreement like explicitly tried to prevent this. I think you have the ability to
claim that
probably
you
disclose
did it,
that you authored it.
But it would be pretty unprofessional to just self-promo that all over that person's shop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's reasonable, and I think that person who manages that shop has every right to delete those posts on the shop that he owns and not allow that platform to turn into promotion for a competing business from a third-party independent contractor he hired.
At the same time, although it's usually not in the contract, I think it is a good and best practice for companies who hire artists to create things for them to give them credit where it makes sense to. And so while that might not make sense like on your website where you're selling your products, maybe it makes sense on socials. So for example, Holo Taco, we hire a bunch of swatchers who we pay, who sign a contract to produce photos for us that we can put on the website, that we can use as ads, that we can post on our socials. And we don't have to do this, but I've chosen and instructed our marketing team and our social team to do this, that we tag that artist or that nail account on socials. So like if we post an Instagram picture by Anikibi, a fellow nail artist or swatcher, we will say buy a Nikiwi. We don't have to do that because technically we've already purchased the rights because we pay her as a swatcher. But I that's something I just want to do because I think it's good practice. It also, like me being a previous nail swatcher, nail creator, that's something that I always appreciated, the credit. And I hope that with other artists, whether it's like nails or other type of art, companies see things more that way and try and respect it and do what makes the most sense on that platform.
Yeah. So it's a balance of respecting artistic creation, but also like the business interest in what you paid for, right?
Also understanding like the licensing. And if I have any advice for creatives who are selling or contemplating selling their artwork or photos or digital art to a company, it's absolutely to have someone, like even if you're not hiring a lawyer, I understand that might be out of people's reach. Ask someone else who's dealt with a contract at minimum, you know, a friend, maybe someone's been in school where they've looked at legal contracts or business class or anything to understand what it is you might be selling. Because the worst thing that can happen is a misunderstanding that upsets you after the fact.
Yeah. Or signing a contract or agreement that you don't know what
you
it really means.
You don't know what it is you're signing.
Right?
Yeah. Interesting, though.
Next one. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiance stop bathing for hours on end because we only have one bathroom? I'm a 25-year-old guy. Recently got a new place with my fiance, 26-year-old guy. And it's overall a pretty nice apartment, but the only downside is there's only one bathroom. My fiance loves bathing and would oftentimes spend hours in the bathtub soaking. We're talking 2 hours minimum, and sometimes, depending on how his day was, close to 4 hours in the bathtub. I wish I was exaggerating, but legitimately hours in the bathtub.
Oh.
This what? Yeah, don't you turn into a
You're
raisin?
A
This wasn't an issue before, as our old place had a bathroom and a separate washroom. I've tried asking him to shorten his bathing time, and he just said he needs it to relax. Also, I asked that at the very least he keep the door unlocked so I can just go in there to pee when I need to. He just said that's gross and doesn't want to be bathing while I pee a foot away from him. I've seen his butthole, but okay. Yesterday, the whole thing came to a head. He was on one of his long-haul soak sessions. I needed to pee really bad, and it was 10 p.m., so I knocked on the door and asked if he can finish up since I had to pee. He told me that he wasn't anywhere near done. He had already been in there at least for an hour. What is this guy doing in the bathtub? There's something going on in there. It's not just bathing. So I said, fuck it, and I peed in the sink.
Uh-oh.
I just peed it. Okay. He later came out and said the bathroom was free now at 1 a.m. So he was in there for 3 hours.
Oh, it's free now. Thanks.
Okay, so I told him all good. I already went to the bathroom. He asked if I picked up anything while I was at the store, since usually when this happens, I literally go to a nearby gas station. But I told him I didn't go to the store. I just peed in the kitchen sink. And I did make sure to run the water so that it wouldn't, smell. He got really angry at that and called me disgusting for peeing in the sink, and he was just laying it on me. I snapped back and said, I don't give a fuck. Stop bathing for hours on end. I'm not going to the gas station just to pee and shit when you're pruning up. He called me an asshole and went to stay with his mom for the night. He came back earlier today, and it's just radio silence. I'm here to get some different perspectives. Am I the asshole?
So you're telling me that they're engaged?
It sounds like it.
I mean, I think there's only one take here. The bather needs to stop swimming for so long. Like, what are you doing?
I can't even imagine what it would feel like to be in a tub for 4 hours. That sounds terrible, right?
When I sit in the tub for 20 minutes when I'm doing like a muscle soak, like I'm done. Well, it's also like super hot.
But you put you do it really hot and you put
really
salt in there.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so you would probably die.
I would die if I was in there for hours. But just like if you're in a relationship, which these people are, they're engaged. How can you not allow, like, if you're bathing or showering, the other person to just, like, quickly go pee? Just quickly. While you just...
Well, not even quickly. Like, what's the big deal?
Okay, sorry. But you know what I mean? Like, what is the big deal? You have one bathroom. You have to share that space.
I guess if soaking is like this ritualistic experience of candles and tranquility,
okay, well,
and I'm
must
at the
be
spa.
nice, but this is not life. Like, what
I
is wrong
know.
with you? This is not a dream
Yeah,
world.
this is
You're gonna
obviously
make
super
your
unreasonable.
significant other go to the gas station while you experience meditation in your bathtub for 4 hours? Like, no, that's just not fair. You live together. You have one bathroom. You have to share the space.
Yeah, deal with it.
Deal with it.
Or if you have to have 4-hour bath, I can't
Like,
even
that's
just get over that first fact.
that is an unreasonable request. Unless you, I mean, like, hey, you want to turn into a prune? I don't care. But, like, you got to let your partner be able to pee.
Yeah,
during that
that
time.
is the right take.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say, like, let's say you were super passionate. Let's say we had one bathroom.
I was really passionate about
You were
baths.
super passionate about baths and being
Mm-hmm.
private about them.
I would ask you if you need to go to the washroom before I begin my ritualistic bath, and you know, in effort to try and make this a better experience for all, let you know, okay, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna try and keep it to 2 hours. Do you think you will not need to use the bathroom in 2 hours? And then
And that
we'll
is
see.
Incredibly reasonable.
that would be too reasonable, Ben.
And also, I think I think I have a big bladder. I think I could handle it. I've always.
What?
This is something I'll brag
Tell
about.
us, Ben.
I feel like I can go a long time without having
Yeah,
to pee.
I'm
Is
the
that
opposite
weird?
of you.
You
I
are
go
the
pee every like
opposite.
half an hour.
All the time. I don't know what's going on there.
It's the tea.
You should talk to a doctor.
No,
about that.
I drink so much water.
You do.
And tea.
Maybe I just don't drink water enough.
I think that
I just
see,
living life dehydrated.
that is the problem. I think you're really dehydrated. Maybe you should have a bath for 4 hours.
Wouldn't
Get
that
some water in there.
dehydrate you? Being in a hot bath makes you dehydrated.
He never said it was hot.
Okay. Bathing isn't the solution if you're dehydrated, I think is what I'm trying to say
I think
here.
these people need to reevaluate their communication and getting along
Communication
skills
is key.
before they tie the knot.
Yes. Or, get a second bathroom.
Well, not everyone can have a second bathroom, so I'm
it's
trying to
a luxury,
I'm
I
trying
get
to
it.
work within what they have, but they need to come within.
What if in the
within
living room
agreement.
he just puts like one of those inflatable like kiddie pools?
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you could just spend hours in there.
Or why don't you build like a little bit of a wall or a barrier between the toilet and the bath, just so you don't have to like look at the person on the
You
toilet.
could just like hang a sheet.
Yeah, there's got to be
Don't you have a shower
solution
curtain
here.
already, maybe?
Well, maybe the shower curtain isn't closed, but you could.
Yeah.
I'd close
There's a
that
solution here.
All right.
All right. Moving on. Am I the asshole for telling my wife's friend to eat a salad? My wife has a friend that she has had since high school. In high school, they were both lighter, 100 pounds. Why would you know that? However, since then, the friend has gained a lot of weight. My wife is very health conscious and always works out. And even though she's in her mid-30s, she still looks around 20 years old and is still very fit. Anytime I see her friend, she makes comments about my wife being too skinny and that she needs to eat a burger. It bothers my wife and pisses me off when she does this. We moved across the country years ago, so she only deals with it every couple of years when she comes to visit. The last time she was here, she wasted no time busting out the burger comment. After we picked her up from the airport, we stopped for lunch. As soon as we sat down, she pointed to the burger section and told my wife she should order something from there. As soon as she said it, I pointed out that they have several salad options and she should really consider ordering one. Now everyone is pissed off. Am I the asshole?
Okay, everyone just needs to stop making comments about other people's weight.
Are these people friends?
Like, what?
This
I'm
is
so
so
confused.
bizarre.
Also, the poster creeps me out because they're being very specific about the weight of their wife and her friend
Yeah.
in high school and
Kind of
currently.
glossed over that.
Like, my wife used to be 105 pounds. Now she's 120. And her friend used to be 105 pounds. Like, why do you know this?
All these people sound like jerks.
Like a
everyone
weirdo.
everyone kind of sucks here, right?
Yeah, well, that was Reddit's conclusion, apparently.
That is
but-
true. Yeah, it's tagged with the conclusion of people who voted. And yeah, I think that's the right take.
Yeah,
I
but
know this is going to be triggering for, people feel bad about weight and things like that. So I guess I want to be mindful of that. But I will say, to have a heavier person constantly ridicule a skinny person for like not eating enough, that is bad too. And I don't think people talk about that enough, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I've heard it both ways. I've had heavier friends tell me pretty much, like, I related to this, say, like, why don't you eat a burger? Maybe you should eat a French fry. And I always found that incredibly rude and insulting, especially if they had, like, no idea what I was going through in my head or what I was dealing with. And it always felt like it was coming from a bad place. I've also been heavier, like, for me anyways, in terms of people's perceptions of, like, relative to what they thought was my baseline. I've also had, when I was heavier, people say things like, oh, like, what happened to you? Or did you change your diet? Or, like, things that suggest maybe you should try losing weight again. So I've heard both, and they most often come from other women in my personal experience. And I think that's just kind of the sad point here. I mean, in this case, it's the guy who seems to really care about it, but I just think it points to that culture in general, which is usually in between other women competing with each other, and it's ultimately coming from a place of, like, personal insecurity, I think.
Yeah, that really sucks. And it's like just...
And a terrible culture. Sorry, I don't mean to suggest, like, it's just people who are insecure. Insecure because of the culture that society has told us we need to think about and consider in all of our actions.
Yeah. So just, like, don't comment on people's weight.
Yeah, I think that's, like, the final point. Like, don't say anything. Like, it's one thing to think something, but then check yourself when you think that, right? Like, and don't talk shit about other people.
All right, let's look at one more. Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor that I'm a whore?
What?
Did we just get demonetized? So I'm an 18-year-old woman. I just got home from college, and my parents introduced me to our new neighbor, who's a 60-year-old lady. She moved in a few months ago and had gotten along with my parents pretty well from what I'd heard. The day I met her, I was wearing a halter top and shorts. And after my parents introduced us, she looked me up and down and said to something along the lines of, "Oh, sweetie, you shouldn't be wearing things like that. You'll give the boys the wrong impression."
Okay, Grandma.
I asked her what kind of impression, and she said, well, that you were a whore.
Oh, she said it. Oh, she said it.
Content warning on this one, should I say? My parents looked at me and tried laughing the comment off, but I wasn't having it. So I responded, well, good thing I am. My neighbor was taken aback, to say the least, and told me I shouldn't joke about things like that. So I told her it wasn't a joke and that I have had countless sexual partners, even though that's not true. I admit I may have taken it a little too far. She had no response. So I told her it was nice meeting her and walked back to my house. I heard my parents apologizing to her as I left. I got home and my dad was angry with me, telling me that I ruined their relationship with the neighbor and then I had to go apologize. I told him no, because I wasn't going to stand for being slut-shamed by anyone because of how I chose to dress. He told me I was ungrateful, told me to respect my elders. Yeah, no. Since then, my mom hasn't spoken to me and my dad has told me that I'm a jerk and has pestered me to apologize to her many more times, even to the point of saying that if I don't, he might not let me live here anymore.
What?
Wow.
That escalated. Why is this woman so special? Who cares about your neighbor?
Yeah.
Like, why do they care?
I recognize that I probably took it too far, but this wouldn't have happened at all if she had tried to tell me that I was dressing like a whore in the first place. Reddit, what do you think? She doesn't give her age. Did she say she's back from college?
Go back.
Not that this really matters.
She did go back.
Did she say?
You're not on the right page. 18.
18. Imagine a 60-year-old woman saying that to a young woman.
I think that's
the fucked up part,
regardless
obviously.
of the age, but you're telling a young woman that she's
for wearing shorts. Ooh.
Like, okay.
I feel like I'd be friends with this girl. Well, no, because I'm a 33-year-old guy.
Yeah,
but
no.
I love the mindset
of the girl being like, I guess I'm more then.
Of kind of like, there's something like kind of powerful about just sort of like embracing that and being
it's being a bit of a smartass, but it's probably the way I would behave too. Like, I really liked her reaction and that she thought of it that quickly to put it that way. I'm like, yeah, you go, girl.
That's pretty amazing.
Guess I'm a whore. Like, I feel like I would have said the same thing.
I think the other thing I've seen, you see people say this sometimes. If someone ever says a joke to you that is kind of like demeaning or sexualizes you in a weird way, and obviously this is happening to women more than men, I've seen people suggest that you just ask the person who did it to like explain, like pretend you don't understand the joke.
Right. What do you mean?
Yeah, and if they have to explain it in like just a literal like explain the joke that was like sexist.
Yeah.
Like it's very clearly it's just super uncomfortable.
So what would
right?
the grandma say?
I'm not sure if that totally
6-year-old.
applies in this case, but like I guess yeah, you could be like,
Yeah.
what? Why
What
would
do
you think
mean?
that?
Why would describe to me what boys would think then, neighbor? Like,
What should I be wearing?
Yeah.
Should I?
what
should
you're
you not
wearing?
be able to
Where did
see
you buy
any?
that jumpsuit? I'm gonna buy that.
Ma'am, I can see your ankles. That's
Yeah.
scandalous.
I just like I'm really disappointed that the parents were after that.
That
like,
really
suggesting
sucks.
they were gonna kick their daughter out of the house because she aggravated the neighbor. Like, why is this neighbor so important? The neighbor started it. The neighbor was a bitch first. I'm sorry.
I think some people really care about like their
Elders.
respect in the neighborhood, what the community thinks about them, sort of thing. But like to choose that over your own kid, that is super messed
And
up.
we've decided after the last podcast with our D&D moral alignment test that we do not
We
respect
do not
elders
respect our
unless
elders.
they deserve to be respected. But by default, I don't know what respect your elders means and
That's
why
a-
that should bear any weight.
I agree with you, but this is a very like
It's a situational
cultural
debate.
thing
It's a
to some
cultural
degree
thing.
too, right?
I
Yeah.
did not grow up in a culture where it was the default behavior to always listen to people older than you, no matter what, even if they were wrong. That's definitely not the
Hmm.
culture I come from.
probably not something you should teach people.
Right, because it's
Yeah.
illogical to just do that based on
It
age.
is simply
Older people are not always right. Like, what?
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Simply not logical.
simply not logical. That's the joke. All right, let's do one more. Let's
Okay.
end on a little more lighthearted here. I
Okay.
felt like this got a little heavy.
Okay.
Would I be the asshole if I kept a packed lunch from a neighbor? If I kept getting packed lunch from a neighbor? My wife isn't a good cook. She's okay, but meals are really hit and miss. The kids love her food, though.
Craft dinner,
Okay.
baby.
On weekends, I like to help around the neighborhood. There's this one woman who moved into the neighborhood, and I helped her move some stuff around her house, and she made lunch for me, and it was amazing.
Oh, damn. It's time to remarry.
She said I could come by any time, so on my way to work, I would stop by her place to pick up a lunch that she packed for me. My wife found out about it, and she told me to stop. So I've been back to eating her packed lunches again. I don't want to tell her I don't like her food because I don't want to hurt her feelings. I try to get her to try new recipes, but it usually doesn't taste good. The woman called me recently and asked why I haven't come by anymore, and I told her I would visit soon. That's the end of the post.
What else? What other information are we missing in this?
I love it.
I mean, I'm also making assumptions. There could be absolutely nothing going on.
Why is the neighbor so willing just to make lunch every day for some random guy in her neighborhood? I guess he's
she's
suggesting
bored?
like he helps around. I don't know. He helped her,
Move.
put up a fence or something maybe. But
I mean, it's possible to like.
is
I don't
so-
want to jump to the assumption that like, oh, there must be an affair going on. Like, I don't know. Like, it is possible to just like be a nice neighbor, be an overly nice neighbor, and make lunch for your neighbor. All
being
the
a
time.
nice neighbor, and then this is a weird.
We're missing
There's
information.
some line
for sure.
stepping going on here.
Well, it's not crossing a line to make someone lunch, but it's crossing a line if you're using that as a vehicle to flirt with or get closer to someone.
I have
You
a
think
problem.
making a lunch on its own is
Cristine.
crossing a line? I
Cristine.
do not care if someone else makes you lunch. Please, someone else make Ben lunch.
Okay, maybe it's different for me because
You would
one-
care if someone made me lunch?
One way I express my affection and love for you is that
Tea.
I bring you tea. If I found out you were leaving the house to go to some guy's house so he could make you tea instead of me, I would not be happy about that.
Man, well, that's different.
And you're
Do you see
keeping
how
it from me?
that's Okay, you know,
Does that change your perspective here?
I mean, with something like tea that makes no sense.
It doesn't matter if it's
why
tea.
someone's tea would be better than
No,
your tea.
Some tea's better than other tea.
Okay, but that's the brand. That's not on you.
No. That's not the right take here. It doesn't matter if it's tea or if it's lunch.
You know what, Ben? No one else is bringing me tea.
No one's ever made you tea,
I
right?
have no exes whose backyards I want to, get married in.
Who said anything about X? Oh, that, okay.
The other post. I do see your point. Okay, now that you put it that way, yeah, it would be weird if I was getting tea elsewhere at someone else's house. But also, like, it could be completely fine if I went to a friend's house and just had tea.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. There's not enough information here. I generally reject the automatic assumption that because someone is like the opposite sex and they, you know, do something nice for the other person, it must be suspicious. I don't like that. Like, you can be friends with people. You can help someone move. You can give someone lunch. You can give a friend tea. That's all is the point I wanted to make.
Okay.
Ben's still jealous.
I got my eye on you.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, what is the conclusion there? Just there's not enough information to draw one.
No conclusion.
Yeah. Hypothesis null.
All right. Apologies to... I don't know. You watched anything good lately?
What?
Who should I apologize to? I didn't think of one.
Apologies for not mentioning next week, this weekend, is something big is happening.
What's happening?
A launch. We've already mentioned it on socials.
Yeah.
Normally we wouldn't have mentioned it at this point, so I would have continued to be very vague and ambiguous and obnoxious. But yes, I am live streaming the next big HOLO Taco launch this Saturday on my second channel, Simply Not Logical. I'm going to be going live as the collection is launching.
Ooh.
So it's all going to be happening at once. This is a first for me, first for HOLO Taco. So you guys are going to watch it all live with me on Simply Not Logical, and the product itself, like the new collection, will be out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the normal time that it normally would drop on a Saturday that people are used to, but I'll start live streaming half an hour before that. So you can join me for the pre-party live stream.
The pre-party.
The pre-party. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We hope you have a happy Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Whether you get your tacos from, you know, your spouse or your roommate eats your tacos, or you get your tacos from the neighbor, you know, it's up to you to gauge how you want to navigate these social situations in life. But ultimately, communication is key.
Yeah, we get it. There you go. All right, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Taco Tuesday. We might see you before next Taco Tuesday somewhere else.
On the internet.
But thanks so much for watching.
We'll see y'all later.
Bye. Bye.